Thyroid as the metabolic spark plug, Peat's view. Have you ever felt tired but wired? Like you can't relax, your sleep is fragile, your hands and feet run cold, and you're running on coffee and adrenaline. What if that isn't just stress or getting older? What if it's your body struggling to keep that metabolic engine running because the spark plug is weak? Today we're talking about the thyroid and why Peat viewed it as one of the most important drivers of cellular energy. Welcome back to Energy First, Peat's Bioenergetic Blueprint. In the last video, we spoke about what energy really means inside your cells, ATP, mitochondria, and electron flow. Now we're zooming in on the thyroid, why it matters, how it connects to stress, and why Peat believed that many modern health issues make more sense when you start with metabolism. Quick note, this is educational, not medical advice. Thyroid conditions and thyroid medication are very serious. Always work with a qualified clinician. The thyroid is a small gland in your neck, but its influence is huge. It produces hormones, mainly T4 and T3, that help set the pace of your metabolism. If you want a simple mental model, food is fuel, mitochondria the engine room. Thyroid hormone helps determine how strongly the engine runs. Not just weight loss metabolism, I'm talking about how well you produce heat, maintain stable blood sugar, digest food, think clearly, and recover from stress. Why Peat calls it the spark plug. Peat often framed health around energy production, and in that story the thyroid is like the spark plug because it helps your cells actually ignite and use fuel efficiently. When thyroid function is adequate, your cells tend to run more in what we could call efficient energy mode. More oxidative metabolism, more stable energy, better warmth and circulation, and less need for stress hormones to force energy. When thyroid function is low, the body often compensates by leaning harder on stress chemistry. And that's a key Peat idea, because low thyroid doesn't always look like slow and sleepy. Sometimes it looks like anxiety, insomnia, and feeling revved up because stress hormones are doing the heavy lifting. T4 versus T3, the activation step. Here's a simple but important point. T4 is mostly the storage hormone, whereas T3 is the more active form, the one that directly drives the metabolic activity. Your body converts T4 into T3 in tissues, especially the liver, among others. Peat emphasized that the conversion step is a common bottleneck. So you can have a situation where someone technically has thyroid hormone in the body, but they're not converting or using it effectively. And what tends to interfere with conversion in this framework? Chronic stress, under-eating or long fasting, low carb intake, inflammation and illness, certain nutritional deficits, and factors Peat often discuss like excessive polyunsaturated fats and high stress signaling. Again, that's the lens, not a diagnosis, just a way to connect patterns. The stress metabolism trap. Let's talk about the trap. Imagine your thyroid output or thyroid effect is low. Your body still needs energy, right? You still have to function. So the body turns up backup systems, mainly adrenaline and cortisol, to keep blood sugar up and keep you moving. This can create a very confusing experience. You might feel anxious, easily startled, wired at night, shaky if you miss meals, mentally on edge, but exhausted, cold, and not recovering well. Peat's point is that stress hormones can mimic energy temporarily, but that's like flooring a gas pedal with a failing engine. You can get through the day, but at a cost. Signs of thyroid-driven energy versus stress-driven energy. Here's a simple way to think about it. More thyroid-supported, steady metabolism often looks like warmer hands and feet, calmer baseline mood, good appetite without crashes, decent digestion, ability to sleep deeper, and stable energy between meals. More stress-driven metabolism often looks like cold extremities, waking at 2 to 4 a.m. with a racing mind, energy that depends on caffeine or constant snacking, anxiety, irritability, digestive issues during stress, and feeling tired but can't rest. These are not official diagnostic criteria, but they're the kinds of functional patterns that Peat encouraged people to observe. The Peat way of thinking about measurement. In mainstream medicine, thyroid is often evaluated primarily with lab tests, especially TSH, free T4, and sometimes free T3. Peat didn't reject labs, but he argued that labs alone can miss the real question. Is the person actually producing and using energy well? That's why you'll often hear Peat-inspired people speak about functional markers like body temperature, pulse, subjective warmth, sleep quality, digestion, mood stability, and a fast Achilles tendon reflex. Important caution. If you suspect a thyroid problem, labs matter, and interpretation can be complex. So don't self-diagnose based on temperature and pulse alone. But conceptually, Peat wanted the focus to stay on function, not just numbers. What supports thyroid function in a bioenergetic framework? Now here's the part where people usually jump to, okay, what do I do? I'm not going to give you a thyroid treatment plan because that's medical advice, but I can share the general foundations emphasized in bioenergetic thinking which are often overlooked. Foundation number 1, enough usable energy. For many people, chronically under-eating or aggressively dieting can push the body towards stress hormones. A metabolism that feels safe tends to do better with consistent energy intake. Foundation number 2, stable blood sugar. Wild swings can trigger adrenaline. For some people, regular meals and balanced macros can reduce that wired feeling. Foundation number 3, support for conversion and liver function. Conversion of T4 to T3 relies on metabolic health, sleep, nutrients, and reduced chronic stress signaling. Foundation number 4, reduce the need for stress hormones. This is huge in Ray Peat's framework, because when stress hormones are constantly elevated, they can suppress the thyroid's function and shift you into survival mode. Foundation number 5, be careful with thyroid medication. Some Peat-influenced communities preach T3 and T4, but this is not something to play around with casually. Thyroid hormones can cause serious side effects if misused. Work with a clinician. If you want to play it safer, you can get freeze-dried organic beef thyroid at www.rawanimal.de. Currently shipping to Europe, Switzerland, and Great Britain. Besides NDT, there is a variety of other organs like liver for general health, spleen for iron deficiency anemas, and many others. Just go check it out. Let's recap the core message. Thyroid hormones help set the metabolic rate, how efficiently you turn fuel into ATP and heat. Ray Peat viewed low thyroid effect as a common hidden factor behind fatigue, mood issues, digestion trouble, and chronic stress patterns. When thyroid-driven energy is low, the body often compensates by leaning on adrenaline and cortisol, creating that tired but wired state. The goal bioenergetically is steady, efficient energy, not survival mode energy. In the next video, we'll connect this directly to fuel, especially carbohydrates and sugar, and why Ray Peat argued that they can support metabolism when used intelligently. If this helped you see thyroid in a new lens, like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments. Do you relate more to steady energy or tired but wired? Thanks for watching, and remember, start with energy.